This will be the most practical, unbiased, and comprehensive conversation about real estate and forex. If you are that guy, if you're that lady looking and searching for the right information about real estate and forex on the internet within the Nigerian space, this is the conversation you need to watch. In this conversation, we're going to be looking at unbiased conversations around the advantages of real estate, forex, strategies to maximize, and everything you literally need to know. And of course, who is to have this kind of conversation with than the FX daddy of forex himself? Of course, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Raymond. Thank you. I'm glad to be here on your podcast, and I'm hopeful that we'll have a very fruitful conversation. There's a lot happening in two sectors, both in finance and real estate. I'm hopeful that this conversation will help people, especially in times like this, to build sustainable wealth for themselves using the two vehicles, and to also know what to choose depending on what their plans are. So thank you.
Your voice is calm. For me, I'm feeling like this is supposed to be a war. But anyway, we'll have the conversation. So I think I would like to have you tell us introduce yourself as relates to forex and your journey into forex trading.
Okay, so my journey into forex trading has been, I wouldn't say it has been a smooth ride, but it has been a very rewarding one, because it's afforded me the privilege to, do things a bit faster. In the finance space, and when I talk about finance space, I'm talking about anything covering both forex, crypto, bonds, stocks, and all of that. Is a fast vehicle to an extent. It's a bit faster because you can buy a stock today, and the company maybe does 10x, and then your money, you make a lot of money. So it has afforded me that kind of privilege to move a bit faster than usual. So I would say it has been a very rewarding one. I started trading as far back as 2016. So this is my ninth year. Yeah, so this is my 9th year trading forex, and it has been rewarding. Trust me, challenging but rewarding.
You're going to have to tell us some deep stuff that you possibly have not said out there. Okay. For me, I got into real estate as a lawyer, right? I was practicing or doing real estate from a transactional perspective as a solicitor before I eventually resigned and then came fully into real estate. And since then, it's been a very transformative journey. I consolidated quite early. In other words, moment I knew, even at the point back in my final year, that I was going to do real estate, right? I wasn't, I was quite sure I didn't want to get into the courtroom kind of practice, right? But I knew that I could use my law for real estate. And coincidentally, I worked in a law firm where a lot of the transactions were a whole lot about real estate, right? So right there and then, I could see practical realities. I mean, people, individuals, clients of my boss who I really wanted to be like. And then upon resignation, I went fully into real estate. And since then, it's been, you use the word fast. Mine has really been fast as well. And real estate gave me that. And I'm hoping that we're going to talk about those strategies that has helped you. And of course, helped me myself for us to be able to use the word fast. Irrespective of the sectors or different sectors that we both play in.
All right, so let's talk about something. I know we didn't plan this particular question, but I'll just shoot it straight at you. So, do you think...
Hope does not plan to make me lose.
So, do you think, in all sincerity, do you think being a lawyer gives you advantage in real estate than every other regular guy, maybe that comes from microbiology or any other kind of, discipline? Do you think, tell us the truth, do you think you have an advantage, point being a lawyer?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, because I have a whole lot of colleagues who, law is quite wide, right? Okay. Even though we say that we are learned, all learned, but to be honest, if we're going to tell ourselves the truth, you can't be learned in all areas of law. Okay. There's criminal, there's intellectual property, there is civil law as a general conversation, there is commercial, there's corporate, there's maritime. It's a whole lot, and no one person can be good at all of them. For me, I chose property law for a reason, and I'm saying it yes and no because there's a perception of being a lawyer that clients would have. Yesterday, I was training realtors and developers in Oka, and this same question was brought up. And I told them that my being a lawyer, yes, is an advantage, but that is not the advantage. The advantage is that I know property law.
Okay.
right? And that knowing of property law can be transferred to another person. And that is why in my academy I have the real estate law course,
Okay.
right? So even though you may not be a lawyer, you can know property law by going through the courses.
Do you
right?
know?
And going through I know where you're going now, but going through the courses helps you to know the law. The next question now is, how do you project your knowledge of the law? That is the other part of the question, right? You can know it and not project it, right? In fact, I have colleagues who reach out to me, my callmates who reach out to me to ask questions about the most basic real estate conversations around property law. Right. So yes, being a lawyer is an advantage, but I think the most important thing is, do you know property law, and how well do you project it as an advantage to clients?
Do you know why I'm asking this question?
Okay.
Because I remember the first time I got to meet you, and I got to find out after your event that okay, you're actually a lawyer who is into real estate. There's some kind of bias that gave me. I felt like any property this guy is putting out means that he must have done a due diligence, being a lawyer himself. And I imagine me now being a learned person having that kind of bias about you. Now imagine somebody who doesn't know anything much and saying that okay, this is the lawyer he's selling. He just assumes that you know your stuff, you've done your underground search and everything is there. So do you think, let's come back to this question now. So do you really think that that's the reason why you've gone fast, or just property law, knowledge of property law?
This is premium setup. Okay, but honestly, I can't deny that fact. Because one thing I have done is that I know. Okay. Right, this is general opinion. Yeah. I agree with it. Yeah. And I use it. Okay. In other words, I project it a whole lot. You look at my introduction, I am the lawyer that loves real estate. Yeah. So automatically, I know my advantage and I'm pushing it. But the truth about it is that everyone has an advantage. Okay. The problem is that most persons don't know how to use their advantage. Right.
So what do you think is my own advantage as basically a trader?
You are the FX daddy.
I didn't become the FX daddy.
I'll leave you to find the advantage and use it. Or hopefully we'll talk about that in private conversations.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, one of the beautiful things I love about what we're doing now, which is currently diversifying into real estate, is it's coming with a lot of knowledge. Personally, I've learned a lot from you. I'm even subscribed to your mentorship program, and also been able to learn a lot in such a short time. And I would dare say that, in terms of real estate knowledge, I know you're the best. I don't think I know, because I'll give you your flowers, because the course is totally worth it. I know. So, but diversifying into real estate, I found out that there's a little bit of, it's not that rosy, how Correct. They paint it. I will be sincere with you, because unlike Forex, because as a Forex trader, I just need myself and my laptop, or myself and my smartphone, and I'm good to go. I can make 1 million, 10 million, 100 million, a billion naira just by pressing my smartphone. I don't need to consult anybody. I don't need to. But in real estate, for instance, there's a size of property you might want to have, and by the time you start the process, you find out that there are cabals that are lording over the thing. You think you just see an empty plot, and by the time you do your findings, everything looks good. But by the time you now want to put your hand and collect the property, find out there are stronger hands behind the property. So in that way, I think to an extent, Forex has its own advantages, though in this particular aspect, it's a bit advantageous. But you tell me, what do you think about that? Do you think somebody considering the both industries, considering what I just mentioned, being that there are cabals in real estate, how do you make that issue go away for somebody who has that kind of fear when it comes to real estate?
I think that one of the issues with people doing real estate, whether as an investor or a developer, is that a whole lot of persons want to just become big without going through processes. You use the word fast, and I use the word faster as well. But in all honesty, fast is not 1 month. You mentioned 9 years plus. Right? Mine is almost half a decade. Wow. Right. So when you look at it from that perspective, fast is relative, but then you must learn to grow from 1 plot to 2 plots to 3 plots to 1 hectare, right, to 5 hectares. Now, if you grow at that level, you have no business going to go and drag land with one cabal. The cabal is not interested in your 5 plots. Is interested in the core areas of the city, right? So at that point in time, the issue is not the cabal. The issue is you. When you are ready to face the cabal, you will know. I have a developer. He's a boss of mine, and he shared a story of someone else. When he started, there was somebody who he bought a property, and then the day he wanted to go and launch the property, he saw the signpost of another big cabal. In fact, a cabal, right? To him at the time, right there. When he saw the signpost, he literally just turned back and said, "I no fit drag." But guess what? Both persons are literally friends today.
Wow.
Because of growth.
Wow.
He didn't drag or didn't fight with him. He simply just left to grow. And with growing, they're both playing. In fact, they're doing partnerships today. Right? So I think the issue with real estate, it's the same thing again with certain simple things like, oh, I want to buy an Asokoro when you can't afford Asokoro. Right? Oh, it's far. I can't buy where it is far. But the truth about it is that you can only afford where it's far. Why not focus on getting where it's far? And then allow that to grow you into the realm of being able to afford where it's near. I think that's the simple logic. And if you're able to be intentional about growing, then it helps you instead of just wanting to jump, even when you don't have the money. So I think that should naturally solve that problem. Because by the time you have done multiple at small levels, you develop capacity. Even emotional strength also develops. Because if you're able to manage a 1 plot issue, the emotional requirements of managing that 1 plot, 2 plot issues also helps you to deal with a 3 plot issue or a 1 hectare issue. But the difference is that the 1 hectare is more expensive, the 1 plot is less expensive. But then if you had been able to manage the emotional troubles of the 1 plot, you will grow into managing the emotional troubles. And of course, you would have also gotten relationships that can help you deal with the 1 hectare issue. So I think it's a matter of growth and not jumping into being big in the sector. I'm sure you didn't jump into doing trading with $40,000.
Well, truth, but you use the word you would have formed relationships. I heard you just said that at the point, during your growth process and all, would have formed relationships.
Yeah.
But the advantage of Forex is that I don't need those relationships.
But you need a mentor.
No, definitely. No, understand where I'm coming from. I'm just saying in terms of the growth, in quote, growth. Growth in Forex, for instance, can be you had a $1,000 account, you traded your account is now $2,000. Traded became $10,000, $10,000 to $100,000, $100,000. I mean, during that phase of growth, unless you want to have quality relationships and maybe start diversifying, in this case now you don't need permission from anybody. Or
now the way you're saying this thing,
okay,
it's making it look very simple. You sit in your room with your laptop, you don't need anybody, you don't need any cabal, you don't need anybody to, and then boom, you're making $10,000, 100 million naira. Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
How does Forex work in its simplest form?
Okay, well, let me go down to the basics now. Okay, so Forex trading, when you hear Forex, it's foreign exchange. You're simply exchanging one currency with another currency at a given time and at a given price. That's basic explanation. So trading Forex is a global sector. You understand? Because Forex market is the biggest financial market with currently, I think, over $8 trillion trading volume every single day. That's every single day, $8 trillion exchanging hands between people all over the world.
Yeah.
Of course, some people are donating their money, aka losing money. Some other people are taking out money from the market.
I like the word aka losing money. But go on, let me allow you finish.
Yeah, but that's the reality. Some people are losing, some people are making money. You understand? But at the end of the day, because of brokers and something called leverage that they offer right now, it's easy for everybody, no matter your sector, no matter where you're coming from, no matter your background, part of the edge you're coming from, you can make money. You just need to sign up an account, get a broker, start trading. Of course, I won't tell you that it's that easy. Of course, it's not that easy. Just like every other business, the principles of wealth works across board. It doesn't matter which skill you want to use to assess the principles of wealth. It's the same across board. Whether you're in real estate, whether you're in the medical sector, politics, it's all the same. You get. So once you obey the principles of wealth, guiding wealth creation, and which includes learning, diligence, mentorship, of course, there's no limit to how much you can make. And the beauty of that also, I'll be sincere with you, because this is me doing 9 years in Forex.
Yeah, you haven't given up.
I've not given up. So that tells you there's a lot of money to be made here and a lot of advantages. You understand? So
Okay.
I will put that out there. There's a lot of advantages.
So let me come in back.
Okay.
Before I ventured into real estate, I paid someone
Okay.
to mentor me on forex trading.
Okay.
And what I learned was what I ended up learning was that forex trading wasn't meant for me at the time.
Okay.
I'm saying at the time
Okay.
because I may at some point choose to want to come back to do forex trading.
Yeah.
Maybe not by myself actively,
Yeah.
but maybe I could say, oh, FS Daddy, I'm giving you $100K.
Okay.
Use that to trade for me, right? And then just let me know what I get every month or every 3 or every quarter,
Yeah.
right? But as at the time, even the money I paid the guy, I literally struggled to put it together, right? So imagine me struggling to put the money together for training, for
Yeah.
coaching. Where am I going to be getting the money to be
trade.
trading? If I lose it, it's going to be a major problem,
Yeah.
right? Now, since then,
Okay.
and I'm quite a finance person. I pay attention to numbers at a global level, to macro level. And from there, I'm able to understand that forex trading is a whole lot about currency exchange, trading of currency as the case may be. And at that level, I know that there are people who are controlling the trading. So a lot of speculation out there in the forex market, if you would agree with me. So at that level, I have a concern. And hopefully you agree. I think that people who are in charge of the speculation are the speculators, the high-end people at the highest level of forex trading. They make the real money. While people at the lower paradigm of trading, they make less money. In fact, I feel like when people lose money down here, people make money up there. So the question for you now is, because for me, that's one of the biggest disadvantages of forex, because anything, it's with a spark, with a phone call. I've watched beyond studying forex trading and all of the crypto stuff, watching movies and then looking at the realities of Wall Street, you realize that one mogul out there can make a phone call. And by a phone call, something is affecting the forex market, right? And before he makes that phone call, he would have talked to the institutional cabals, who, again, you brought up you brought up the issue of cabals in real estate. Now, I feel like the cabals in the forex market are even way more dangerous than those in real estate.
Okay.
Because, in fact, there was a movie I watched, and I know most of these movies are not just scripted. There's a whole lot that goes down up there. Now, while on the news, talking to or on television, speaking on his company, speaking on what he was doing, he was sending a message to a trader, an institutional trader. And then while he was having that conversation, he was going to reveal a reality. Upon revealing that reality, the lady was trading. And by what he was saying, somebody was making serious money at an institutional level. While, of course, there might be that guy in Nigeria who has a laptop, like you mentioned, and then he's trying to trade. But what he's doing is reacting to what the guy on the TV had said. The first person who is the beneficiary of the speculation is the person who the mogul is chatting with. So at that level, I strongly believe that the moguls up there, the cabals up there, make way more money than those who are just pressing their laptops in Nigeria. Do you agree?
Okay, so first of all, I agree. You don't catch me. So I agree. Yes, in every industry there are cabals. Let's be realistic now. In every industry there are cabals. Okay, but the difference with the cabals in forex is that they are not directly. They are influencing the market. But the outcome of the trader who is maybe here in Nigeria with his laptop, he's trading the outcome of what they are doing.
Yeah.
So it's not like they are directly trying to scam him of his money. It's just like where they say when two elephants are fighting, the grass is suffering.
Absolutely.
So in that space now, it's the cabal against the cabals at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because the money that moves the market comes from big institutions like hedge funds, central banks, institutions like that.
Yeah.
So the guy who is in Nigeria who is trading most likely with a CFD account, CFD is contracts for difference. He's trading with a brokerage CFD account. His money is not directly, inside that liquidity pool, but the effect of what the cabals up there are doing is affecting the market, which ultimately affects him if he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
But the advantage here, unlike what we have in real estate, is that you can choose not to be affected by what they are doing based on knowledge. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
They can't wake up one day and say, okay, no, I want this guy's account to be wiped out. You understand what I'm trying to say? Unlike real estate, where somebody can come in, see a plot of property, he knows that somebody else has a property, and because he has, connections with maybe a land, property, what's this thing they call them, principal land, what's this thing they call them, I don't know, you should know the name, land principals or something. So he has connections, something like that, and said, okay, I want this land. And they begin to do some back end. At the end of the day, a land that was, rightfully yours.
You can still go to court too, and then they still
you can still go to court, and they still intimidate you in court and collect the property again. But not like that. That can happen in Forex, because if I have a trading account, nothing can happen to my trading account. You understand? So at that point, I feel like, of course, there are cabals in both industries, but the cabals are they're a bit lenient than what you guys
how
are.
exactly do you make money from Forex?
Okay. Simply trading the difference in price and time.
Okay.
So for instance, I can buy euro against the USD. And if I buy euro USD, which is euro and USD, I'm hopeful that if the price of euro goes up,
okay,
or the demand of euro goes up, yes, of course, it's speculation.
I don't know if I can ask this question at this point. Can prayer make you win it for us? Well, so that you are hopeful. What if can you pray so that your distance? I know there's the going up bearish and bullish, right? Can you pray that it works out in your favor?
Okay, my mentor always say, pray before you enter the market. But once you have entered the market, prayer doesn't work at that point.
Okay.
You understand? Okay. Because at the end of the day, you are praying for the market to go down. Somebody else is praying for the market to go up. You understand? So, if you are God, who are you going to answer the prayer? So, you most likely answer the person's prayer who has more knowledge or did more research before entering the market.
So the prayer can be answered.
The prayer can be answered.
It goes in the direction of the person with more knowledge.
Exactly.
Possibly mentorship and everything in between.
Exactly. Exactly. So, it's a wonderful industry. Trust me. It's a beautiful industry. I don't plan to exit from this industry anytime soon. You understand?
Is it because you have how much have you lost in Forex over time?
Let's not have this conversation.
No. The reason it's important for us, you can ask me the question back.
Okay.
Right. Or I think let me answer a question that you have not asked me. How do you make money from real estate?
Okay, please go ahead.
Now,
I'm interested.
With real estate, it's a whole lot easier.
Yeah.
I feel like Forex has low entry, but real estate has easy entry. By low entry, I mean you can come in with $100 and you begin to trade.
Yeah.
For real estate, it's capital intensive. Yeah. For example, our lease project of property right now, a plot of land is 6.4 million, right, at the least. Now, it changes over time. At some point, the lease property is 10.7 million, right? Sometimes it's a whole higher than that. But the question now is, or the reality now is, not everybody can afford that. In other words, not everybody can want to enter real estate. But I'm saying it's easier at the level of, do you have to go and do a whole lot of study, mentorship, training to begin to invest? All you need is one broker or realtor that knows what he's doing to guide you properly in buying the property. Yeah. In other words, you can come in, put a call to Raymond, for example, and you say, oh, Raymond, I have a lot of clients who do that. Raymond, I have 100 million, I have 50 million. Where do I put it? Because I sell more from the consultancy perspective. In other words, I have a lot of persons who trust my judgment to help them make decisions on investing the right way, especially for those who want to build wealth through real estate, right? And at that level, they make money. It's easier or simpler for them to come into. They just need to have the cash, have the money. Right? At some point, you can actually not have all the money. You can make a deposit, and then with your cash flow, you can now key or complete your payment for the entire project or product, right? But with making money from real estate, rather, you just key in. When you key in, you wait if you want to wait. Of course, there are different strategies to making money from real estate. You can buy or land bank. In other words, you buy, keep the land for a while and resell it when you want to sell, right? You can flip. In other words, you buy today and then tomorrow you sell it. But buying today means that you buy at a very low price, or for example, a distress sale. Or let me even take you back a little bit. There are three major ways that you can make money from real estate, or at any point you want to come into real estate. There are three major ways. You have the short-term land banking, you have the long-term land banking, and you have the cash flow point of real estate. Now, with the short-term, it means that you need to have more money to make more, right? With the long-term, it means that you have to come in at the low and then you have to wait. Your patience level has to be very high. And then with the cash flow, it means that the place is almost ready. For example, you want to buy property in Asokoro. You don't want to buy property in Asokoro or land in Asokoro and then keep it for another 10 years, right? In fact, with the use of the property already, you just have to key in quickly. So for example, in a place of Asokoro, you buy property there, you should be looking at doing a hotel. You should be looking at doing shortlet. You should be looking at doing anything that gives you cash flow, right? Not keeping it or doing land banking at that point, right? Which again, we're going to get to the point of strategies in the conversation. But in making money from real estate, it's easier, right? Because you don't do a lot of trading. And of course, it's also passive, right? Trading is active, right? But with real estate, it's passive. You buy the land and move on. People who bought, I have a lady who bought 10 plots of land in our estate in Karishi last year. She bought 10 plots. Wow. And with 10 plots, she bought at 3.1 approximately. And today we're selling that same property for 6.4. Wow. Right? And that's less than 8 months ago. Wow. It means that she has made more than times 2. 100%. She made a 100% return already. If you want to sell for her today, we're selling at that rate. Right? So what did she do? She simply keyed in. And guess what? Which again, it's making me already go into the conversation of strategies, right? But for real estate, you can maximize profit by simply being strategic. People buy properties in real estate or want to buy properties and then they're calling their uncle in the village. They're calling their auntie somewhere. They're seeking advice from elders. And I'm like, come on, right? You need to seek advice from professionals, people who know what they're doing. Just like you, nobody just wakes up and then, boom, I want to make money from Forex, and then you buy a laptop. Buying a laptop and having a chair in your office with ring light or anything doesn't make you make money from Forex. There has to be the professional perspective and, of course, guidance that you have to put. So the same thing with real estate, right? Even though it's easy to enter, you have to understand strategy and, of course, engage strategy to make money from real estate. But the simplest way to make money is buy it and wait and allow development, external development, internal development, government infrastructure. All of that will drag money and help you make more money. So that's for real estate. Unlike Forex, where I have to sit down with my laptop and then I'm trading, I'm looking at stuff going up and down. I don't understand what's going up and down.
So there are two things I picked out from what you mentioned. So number one is the ROI. You mentioned that someone bought 8 months down the line, the lady has 100% ROI.
I know with Forex you would have made way more. Don't even go there. Okay, so that I'm going to interrupt you.
Allow me to finish because
I know she definitely can make way more from Forex, but you also agree that she can still lose the money in 1 month.
No doubt. Now, like I said, every industry has advantage and disadvantage. Now, you said she did 100% in 8 months. I can tell you, I've done 500%, I've done 1,000% in weeks.
Yes.
Depends.
No dispute.
No dispute, right? You understand? And another thing, that's one thing I wanted to point out. Another thing I wanted to point out also is, it's very easy to tell people buy land, invest in land, buy land. But what we don't talk much about is liquidating the land. At the end of the day, because I will tell you this, I bought my first property in Abuja was in 2021. That was my first property in Abuja. So we're in Jikoi. And it was a very repeatable, if not that this out there, I would have called the name of the company because they are quite silly. So I bought a property 500 square meter, and they told me there is a buy and build. So as at then, I bought then, I think it was 6 million. That was what I bought. And paid all the dues, all everything, because I wanted to start building immediately. Build, paid everything. Everything I paid in that land is, let's say, everything add up, let's say 9 million thereabout to get the whole thing. And I started building. In fact, when I started putting out my, fencing, doing my foundation, there was no other structure in the entire estate. Because the way they promised me the whole thing, it's buy and you can go to site. I called my architect, they did planning everything. When I went to site, they called me one day that somebody's here, the man is here, they said it's the MD of the estate that they don't have approval. I said, what do you people mean that you don't have approval? But you said it's buy and build. Does buy and build mean something different, or is it me
buy, wait for approval, then build?
They told me it's buy and build. So, I mean, I was shocked. So, long story short, I said, okay, you guys don't want me to build. I mean, I need to sell. And you won't believe that from 2021 till now, I still haven't sold that property. You understand? Because once people come, you tell them that the estate is waiting for approval, also, it becomes an issue. They wouldn't want to buy because most of them want to buy because it's a very developed area. I mean, you can actually buy and start living there.
Jikoye.
You know Jikoye, right? Yeah. Phase 2. You can actually buy and actually start and live there. So just because they don't have the approval, the whole thing is stalling. So I feel like that property is tied down now. Because if I had that money, most likely I would have subscribed to maybe 5 plots from your estate, and I mean, it gives me more ROI. So that particular case of liquidating the land, what can you say?
I totally agree with you. You've mentioned very important issues. In fact, I beg to call them some of the realities of the business. But first, before I touch on the issue of liquidity, let me state that the players in the industry, in the real estate industry, we've not helped, right? Just as I would hope also that there are people in Forex that are not helping the industry.
Yeah, sure.
Now, with real estate, developing is not easy. Being a developer is not easy. I'm not going to lie to you. And sometimes government also plays a role in while some things are not easy. While a whole lot of the times, the developers themselves are not sincere. I wish I can say a whole lot of things here, but at some point, the developer is doing a project, but doesn't have right of possession. Mm-hmm. In other words, developer can buy a property in installment from an individual, and has not finished, and at that point cannot or doesn't have access to all of the papers. And with not having access to all of the papers, even though it is a developed area, and in quotes, a buy and build, right? At that point, the guy cannot process any approval. Okay. And at that point, nobody, because it's Abuja, you can't still build, right? And even if you build, whatever you are building is not approved yet, and you're going to have issues, right? So if we can begin to bring sincerity to the sector, I'm talking to my colleagues who may be watching out there. For example, we have projects that already have approvals. We have those that don't have approvals yet. That doesn't mean it will not have approval. It's just that it doesn't have approvals yet. For some, in fact, I have a project that, one of our projects in Karachi, I paid, 100% in full. I met with the man who was meant to sign the approval in his office, and he told me that if I pay in full today, that in 10 days, our approval will be out. Our regional approval will be out. January. Today is 1st of April, 2025. That approval is not out. Right? We needed to start moving file. You pay somebody to move the file from this office to that office. After you're done doing that, because they did not do your architectural designs, they want to poke hole here and there, right? So for them not to stress you or poke hole, you have to now still give that person money to allow that architect in their office to also allow the approval or what your architect has designed to scale through, right? So
that's my problem.
I don't know if I'm giving you more points right now, but those plays certain roles behind the scene that creates issues. And thank God that I try to be as transparent as possible. And sometimes the transparency also does not solve the problem, because you may have promised a client that you can start building in January or February on the latest. But now we're in April and we keep tipping people so that the file gets to the person it has to get to. As I speak to you, the file is on the desk of the same man. It has moved round and round and round and has come back to him to make his final approval. And guess what he said? He brought up the issue of the fact that we have no playground for children in the estate. So now we have to look for a plot in the estate to convert for a playground for children. So that's the only thing holding the approval right now. But this can be a defense to what you raised, or can just be the fact that the developer was never sincere from the beginning in terms of the documentation. Right. So again, which is why we say the people you get involved with matters a lot. If I was in the shoe of that developer, I can tell you what the issue was. Why is the approval not out all of that? Right. Transparency is key in the business, because sometimes it's not your fault. There's no perfect industry. Even in the US, in the UK, somebody who is quite familiar with the global real estate market. So I try to be as familiar as possible, so that even when my diaspora client is saying, "Oh, this is not how it's done in the UK," I can also tell you that, "Hey, guy, I know what's up in the UK." Right. So the summary is that is a reality, and that is dependent on the developer or the real estate company you are working with. And then the issue of liquidity, to be honest, that is a problem. Right. For example, I have a client who wanted me to sell a property for her towards the end of last year. But now, there's a challenge. Where she bought the property, we as a company, we have gone on to do 2 other projects in the same location. At that point, it becomes difficult for us to, in fact, clients key into the one you're pushing. Than the one that is a secondary sale. Knowing that the person who is on a secondary sale is making profit off him or her, while the new project, he or she is going to be maximizing profit. So naturally that creates a problem of liquidity for her.
I guess it.
Assuming we didn't have any other estate in that location, then we could have easily been able to help her liquidate the property. So while liquidity is a general issue, there is also the issue of contest. Why have you not sold it? What is delaying the sale? If it's a location that has been, or that is naturally a high demand area, and we don't have a project, it's just to do one video, and then somebody will pick it up. I sell like water, right? I sell real estate like I'm selling bottled water. It's my natural demeanor. But then, but then there could also be contextual challenges that makes it impossible, just like the one I just gave. Right. So to her, real estate becomes a serious issue, or liquidating real estate becomes a serious issue. I've had to do transactions that I flip quickly. Right. So at that point, I could say by context, the real estate was liquid for me. Right. So it's all dependent on the context, but generally, that is a problem for real estate. I will not deny that.